Welcome back to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because we are tackling a massive, incredibly exciting topic, landing a role at the United Nations. For so many people, working at the UN is the ultimate dream. It's pretty much the pinnacle of global impact. But let's be real for a second. From the outside looking in, the UN can feel like an impenetrable fortress. Between the endless alphabet soup of acronyms, the massive global footprint, and a notoriously complex recruitment process, just figuring out where to start is completely overwhelming. But today, we're going to demystify that fortress and give you a clear, structured playbook to actually navigate your way in. So, it's a huge question, right? How do you actually get hired to save the world? Your ambition to contribute to global peace, human rights, and sustainable development is absolutely needed now more than ever. But I know that logging into the UN's Inspira application portal for the first time is incredibly intimidating. It feels way less like a modern job board and honestly a lot more like a gigantic bureaucratic archive. Don't worry though, once you learn how to navigate its quirks and understand exactly what hiring managers are looking for, you'll have a major advantage over the competition. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our agenda for today's explainer. First, we'll map out the pathways into the UN. Second, we'll explore the 9 career networks. Third, we'll be decoding UN core competencies. Fourth, we'll cover crafting a standout application. And finally, we'll conquer the competency-based interview. Section 1, Pathways into the UN. Finding your entry door. So before you can change the world, we really have to identify the right door for you to walk through. There are 3 major entry points to consider, and as you can see, they vary wildly. UN internships are open to those currently enrolled in a degree or who have graduated within the last 12 months. They usually run about 2 to 6 months. But here's the critical detail you need to know. The vast majority are entirely unpaid. You literally have to budget for your own travel, visas, and daily living expenses. Next up, the UN Youth Volunteers Program supports ages 18 to 29 for 6 to 12 months. But finally, we have the YPP, the Young Professionals Program. This one is for candidates 32 years old or younger, and it is a highly competitive, paid career track designed to bring top-tier professionals directly into the UN Secretariat. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast in compensation. It's vital to understand this. If you successfully navigate those highly competitive YPP entrance exams, the starting salary ranges from $37,000 to $80,000. Plus, that often includes cost of living adjustments, rental subsidies, or even education grants. Comparing this solid, paid career track with the unpaid internship reality really highlights why it's so critical to know exactly which pathway you're eligible for right from day one. Section 2, the 9 career networks. Find your exact fit. Okay, let me act as a translator for the UN's famous alphabet soup of acronyms here. They group all their jobs into 9 distinct networks. We've got Magnet for management and admin, DevNet for economic and social development, and POUNet for political and humanitarian work. Then there's ICHINet for IT, LegalNet for legal affairs, InfoNet for public information, and SafetyNet for internal security. And finally, LogNet for logistics and SciNet for science and medical roles. So what's your strategy here? You need to strictly target the network that matches your specific expertise. Don't just browse aimlessly on the portal. Use the job family filters to align your search with your exact degree and background. Section 3, Decoding UN core competencies. Decoding the values. Now, you shouldn't view UN core competencies as just dry, boring HR terms. Honestly, they're the hidden cheat codes required to get past the gatekeepers. Let's look at one of their absolute foundational values, respect for diversity. This means working effectively with people from all backgrounds, treating men and women equally, and actively examining your own personal biases. The UN's entire mandate is to promote human rights for all. Therefore, true professionalism there means upholding these principles every single day, navigating power imbalances, and bringing genuine empathy to a deeply multicultural team. Communication is another massive competency. Keep in mind, the UN operates in intense environments where the working language isn't always everyone's native tongue. So how do they expect you to brief your teams? Well, they use the SNAP method. S is for specific, clearly identify what you want to communicate. N is for numbered, keep your message short and sweet using bullet points. A is for action-oriented, use strong action verbs to state exactly what you expect the listener to do. And P is for plain language, remove all those meaningless corporate phrases and completely avoid jargon. Mastering SNAP proves to them that you can actually lead across cultures. Section 4, Crafting a Standout Application. Build your CV and letter. All right, we are moving into the tactical execution phase now. The absolute biggest mistake you can make on your cover letter is simply writing, "I want to work at the UN." I'm telling you, that is an instant red flag. Instead, you need to treat your cover letter exactly like a model UN position paper. It has to be meticulously researched. You should cite a specific mandate, a recent report, or a brand new initiative from the exact agency you are targeting. Drawing a direct, undeniable line between your skills and their mission proves you aren't just chasing a cool logo. You are ready to start contributing on day one. And this brilliantly illustrates how that exact same strategy applies to your CV. You have to quantify your achievements. Notice the massive difference here. A weak CV says, assisted with research for a university project. Honestly, that means absolutely nothing to a hiring manager. But a strong CV? It says, co-authored a 15-page research paper analyzing climate data from 12 nations. By injecting real numbers and highly specific outcomes, you give the gatekeeper a crystal clear picture of your capabilities. It proves without a doubt that you can handle the analytical rigor the UN demands. Section 5. The competency-based interview, showcasing your skills. Okay, so if your application gets shortlisted, which is awesome, you then face the final hurdle. It's a highly structured conversation to test how you actually apply your skills in the real world. Take the teamwork competency, for example. At the UN, this specifically means fostering positive social bonds with people from vastly different cultural and professional backgrounds. It's all about sharing the wins, bearing the mistakes together as a unit, and constructively developing win-win agreements without ever letting personal ego dictate the outcome. Let's move to and see how this builds into your actual interview strategy. To actually prove you have these competencies, you must use the STAR method. Think of it as your concrete checklist for structuring your answers. S is for situation, just briefly set the scene. T is for task, explain your specific goal or responsibility. A, for action, detail the exact steps you took and make sure to use I statements to show your personal ownership. And finally, R is for result. Share what happened because of your actions, preferably using numbers to make it tangible. So, the crucial point is seeing this in action. Take this quote from an applicant who leveraged their Model UN experience to answer a question about handling a difficult group member. They don't just vaguely claim to be a good team player. No, they say, I worked with them to break down assignments into smaller tasks. As a result, we ended up winning a delegation award. This is a flawless STAR answer. It practically demonstrates teamwork, communication, and professionalism all wrapped up in one concise, evidence-based story. Well, we've officially decoded the fortress. We've mapped out the high-level career networks and drilled all the way down to granular STAR interview tactics. The UN relies on incredibly dedicated, highly competent people to tackle the 21st century's biggest global challenges. The pathways are clearly there, the strategies are laid out, and the world absolutely needs your drive and expertise. So I'll leave you with this final provocative thought as you begin building out your application. Which UN mission will you be ready to accept? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.